today. So every day we start fresh because we can't affect the past, but we damn sure can make a difference today.
Welcome to episode 38 of Shop Talk. It's Jennifer.
And Kari.
And since we're on another mini hiatus, we asked everyone to vote on which episode we should cover next. And 212 was the winner. So we're covering Now and Then. And I honestly forgot how jam-packed it was with moments. Like we saw Brolin pair up for the second time. Henry and Abigail stopped by. We saw the aftermath of Lucy's 211 ordeal. And then we even got a few scenes with the Badass Women trio that we definitely need more of. So, yeah. There were also a lot of parallels in this episode. Like, it was more so with just quotes, like in season 4, but it was still like good content. So,
yeah,
we do have a little bit of news. Do you want to start off with Dylan?
Yeah, so Dylan Conrique, so you guys know who she plays Tamara. She released her new song Birthday Cake, and the music video is out as well. And it's like an emotional, I mean it's still like a pop song, but it's like a little bit of a ballad.
She wrote it for her friend.
Yeah, she wrote it for her friend. And so like the song is like has like a special meaning behind it and just talks about like the universality of like losing someone close to you, and it's just like a really beautiful like piece of music, and everyone should go listen to it. We've retweeted it on our Twitter page, but we'll probably end up sharing it again because it's so good. So
and then before we started recording, TV Line had shared an article about some of TV's best like recurring guest stars, and the Rookie had a mention on there with Pete and Chastity. And I know that we had Pete in season 4, and we had like a phone call with Chastity in it.
I mean, she showed up at the very, very end.
Yeah.
For like 2 seconds.
Yeah. But we definitely need a reappearance in season 5 with Pete and Chastity because, I mean, they're just like comedic gold. So if we could manifest that would be great.
Yes. Definitely. And Eric and Rosalind's latest podcast episode dropped today when we're recording it. I believe they posted a sneak peek.
They did. And Rosalind was like, you know, bad nails and toes are a deal breaker for me. And I'm like, toes isn't like toenails or like actual toes? Like, I need more information.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't. Yeah, oh my gosh. Yeah, but they were just kind of going back and forth about just like different like turnoffs, I guess. Yeah, so it's definitely an interesting episode. You guys should definitely listen to it if you haven't already.
I haven't gotten a chance to, but I will because I want to learn more about the toes and nails being a deal breaker.
Yeah.
So now we'll just jump right into the episode because there was a lot. Like we had a lot of storylines. So take it away with the ship that we all care about, Chenford. I mean, we care about Lopez too, obviously.
We do, yeah.
But like Chenford is just so prevalent in this episode.
Yeah. So at the beginning of the episode, we see Lucy covering her tattoo. Jackson had ran out at like 6 a.m. to get her more concealer so she could do that. I thought it was nice that Nolan like stopped by and like brought her like sugar, and they all had coffee together and stuff. So it was like sugar, caffeine fix, like all the good, because it's Lucy's first day back. And she asks if like they can not clap for her like when she comes in eventually. And Nolan's like, sure, yeah, I'll try. Of course that doesn't happen. I mean, but understandably so. I mean, like, I would want to clap to, like, just, I don't know, because it is something, like, but I understand her, like, desire to kind of want to be under the radar.
Right.
And then when they do end up clapping, she goes to him, she's like, you're dead to me. Like, fair point. And So obviously if you guys have seen the episode, hopefully you remember that Chenford is not actually riding together in this episode. And so I just thought like the look that Lucy gave to Tim when Gray said that she'll be riding with Nyla, and just like Tim's little like nod of acceptance. I've seen this episode now probably like 5 times, and I didn't notice this look between them until this time. I didn't notice it because I was focused on just like what Gray was saying, and then it was just like because they cut back over to like Nolan, with like the what's the word I'm looking for? The ride along, and so it was just like so like back and forth, like just it jumped around a lot in that scene, but just that was just, I don't know, just like subtle little moments that are just, I don't know, just goes to show like how intentional they are. But then also how just like intentional like Eric and Melissa are with like their micro expressions in each scene. So and then also, oh my gosh, Tim's look at Abigail when she was talking to Lucy, he's like, why am I not surprised that they know each other? Like he was so just like, okay, here we go, like sure, this is fine. I think someone else also paralleled on Twitter. I wish I really should have looked it up. I don't know why I didn't. The like he's all bark comment with like Lucy's comparison of Kojo to Tim in season 4. Like someone like made maybe it was Tumblr. Now that I'm thinking about it, it might have been Tumblr. It could have been a gift set. I'm not sure. But just like drawing that parallel of just like Lucy kind of acknowledging that Tim is this like tough exterior, but like inside he's a softie.
This was just one of the parallels that were like brought up in this episode, and obviously we didn't know it then, but like now watching season 4, I don't know, I feel like season 4 is paralleling a lot of what season 2 did.
Yeah, definitely. And I just enjoyed Tim's line of like, I let you ride around with Harper for half a day and you start hugging people on duty. And I'm over here thinking, I'm like, Tim, it's okay if you just want to admit that you want a hug from Lucy. Like, who would not want a hug from Lucy?
Right.
Like, hello.
Someone shared a gift set today on Twitter, and it was all Lucy Chen hugs. And I was like, I would like a Lucy Chen hug. I just feel like 1, I need it, and 2, it would be the best thing that would ever happen to me. Yep.
Sure.
Case closed.
Exactly. Yeah, no, so true though. And of course we got their first little like iconic scene, smaller scene though, of the what are you keeping tabs on me? And Tim said, if you need anything, let me know. And Lucy's line of you got a time machine paralleled the 401 scene of when she asked if she could have the last 24 hours back. And then even Tim's line, I just realized paralleled as well, because in 212 he said, wish I did. And then 401 he was like, I'm afraid I don't have that power. So it's just like Tim feeling helpless to like not be able to actually do anything for Lucy in this situation, but still wanting to anyway. Just
right. Kind of showing that like he's there for her anyway.
Exactly.
He's got it so bad for her. Like he does, and he is an idiot for not realizing that, but okay.
Fair. And just like their eye contact in that scene too, like just to look up, look down, like just subtle but meaningful. So again, bravo to Melissa and Eric. They truly like deliver, like the like 210 through 212, like those 3 episodes, like back to back to back, like delivered, like superior. And I don't know, like I'm glad that Tim was nice at the end of his little short scene with Angela, when she told him about Lucy having a moment at the speed dating thing. And because he at first he was like, well, what the hell is Harper doing? And Angela's like, she's fine, don't go all Tim on me. And just like his concern for Lucy is overwhelming because
Mhm.
he's like, Lucy's okay. And Angela said, yeah, she will be. And yeah, Tim was nice enough and then said, thank you for letting me know. And just they even kind of like foreshadowed, like, as people call them, Timgula scenes, the friendship
Yes.
name for Tim and Angela. So
Yes.
I'm glad we got those like early scenes. And I believe, yeah, no, because I asked for a Timgula gift set and someone made it. God bless that person. So good.
Wasn't it
I just
Thirsty Nova?
yes, yeah,
Okay.
so good. Yeah, I'm just so like just because we got Tim and Angela scenes in last week's like new episode.
Yes.
And they were so in sync, and I was so just like, I don't know what it is about me and like characters being in sync. I'm just so mesmerized by it. I just enjoy it so much. It's so great.
She'll text me a gif and she's like, look at how in sync they are. And I'm like,
Literally, I do all the time. It's an issue,
and I'm
but I
like,
don't even
this
care.
is not even a new scene. We've seen
I
this multiple
know,
times
it's just
before.
so fascinating to me, just like how people like fall in step with each other, how like people like their eye, like even people's like eyes shift at the same
Mhm.
time, like, or just all of it, just all of it. So good. But anyway, um, I still get stuck on the line. I don't even care that like John's involved in this little part that I'm talking about. I don't even care because Tim just like asking John if he and Lucy are close. Like, please, if only he knew how close they used to be. Like, goodness.
Seriously.
I can't. I can't.
Also, I feel like this kind of foreshadows to season 3 when Lucy goes undercover, and John's like,
Mm,
she can handle herself. And Tim's like, I know she can. I trained her. Like,
mhm.
they both don't realize how close the other one is to each
True.
other. I
Oh
mean,
my
John
god. So
John might
true.
know a little bit more like how close Lucy and Tim are, but even then, like,
Mhm.
he doesn't totally realize that they have feelings for each other. But like Tim has no idea unless we just don't know it that like
Yeah.
Lucy and John dated. So
Yeah, unless
it's
that was
crazy because they're both kind of like in the dark about how close Lucy is to the other, but like
Mhm. Yeah.
they're just like she can handle herself. I don't know. It's so interesting to see their dynamic when it
Yeah.
comes to Lucy.
Mhm. Definitely. And just I don't know, I appreciated the fact that Tim reminded Nolan like he thinks because it's physical it's worse. Like tragedies always leave scars, only some of them you can see, which obviously kind of foreshadows his speech to Lucy later,
Mhm.
which I just thought was nice because it's like I don't know, because like just they had talked about the tattoo as like a theme throughout this episode as well. And so it kind of just like I don't know, it's just all connected. Like your mind, your body, like
Mhm.
just everything is connected. And I just kind of liked how they kind of drew that throughout the episode. And just and even I didn't notice this either until this rewatch that I did of Tim his eyes like closed when John had mentioned Lucy's tattoo.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it was a quick because like the camera, I don't know however the heck they do it, like it was probably set up on the
Like in the
like
car.
on the
Yeah.
door, yeah, or however they do it, I don't know. But yeah, it was kind of like it was somewhat focused on Tim's face still, and I just quickly caught it. It was very, very quick.
Mhm.
Um, before they kind of took it back to John when he was talking. So um yeah, I don't know, but it was just kind of like he was remembering it in a way too, like just all of it. Like I don't know, just this whole episode, I just kind of forgot that it came right after 211. Of course, 212 comes after 211, but just I don't know. Like, I just kind of forgot just like the emotional weight it like
Yeah.
holds.
Like it's still carried. Like you wouldn't have thought with it being like a cop show and everything that it would have like carried on or like had a
Mhm.
little bit of consistency, but it did in a
Mhm.
subtle way. It wasn't, I mean, it did have its own storyline kind of, but it wasn't like, oh, let's bring up Lucy's tattoo like every chance that we can mention it.
Yeah.
And then like the kidnap situation. Like they worked it into its own storylines, but
Mhm.
it wasn't like anytime you saw two people together they were talking about it.
True. Very true. It's a very good point because it works for like the pace of their show
Mm-hmm.
too, and it I don't know, it works with the fact that Lucy didn't want everyone to focus on her all the time, so it just like, it played into that in a literal way. So, yeah. The end scene, of course, for Chenford is one of my all-time favorite scenes. Tim talks to Lucy while she's in the gym. I just would like to appreciate one, her sweatshirt, two, her ponytail, three, the fact that she still looks like all like put together and just good after like
Yeah.
a workout like that, like boxing. Hello.
And a full work day too.
Yeah, like goodness. Um, but yeah, she's being the boss babe that she is and hitting the bag and getting out some like, I'm sure she's had a long day. Like
Yeah.
I I don't blame her for needing some like the endorphins that exercise can give you and just like that kind of, in a way, it can be a form of therapy for people.
Mm-hmm.
And so definitely can't blame her for that. It just absolutely killed me though that like when her shirt or the sweatshirt, I guess, like raised up and like you could see the tattoo and just like the camera focuses off of it and goes to Tim's face and then comes back. Like that was just brilliantly done and just like that one moment just like breaks my heart every
Yeah.
time I see it. Um but of course the one time Tim gives Lucy a compliment, kind of. I say it in air quotes. Um because it's, oh wait, does this parallel, hold on, this parallels season 3 though, the this
When she goes
212 line,
undercover.
yeah,
Yeah.
this 212 line of you got no quit in you. um
And Tim tells Nyla there's no quit in Chen.
yep.
Because I was
Mhm.
thinking of that too when I was watching this. I was like, that
Mhm.
definitely parallels the
Yeah, I
scene.
just remember that now. Yeah. Yep, exactly. And I just like how I just like how Lucy like gave it back though and was like, no sir, I get that from you. Like, I don't know. And they just like they're able to still just like banter.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, just like Tim saying, like, I don't think so. You walked in the door this way. It's what makes you so aggravating. But he said it with like a little smile and just like was nice about it. And I mean that kind of fits though, because like her first day, she was the hot shot and walked in with her like first arrest before clocking in for the day. So
Yeah.
it like her confidence is like remained like throughout. Like it's like a deeply rooted like part of her character is like that confidence, I think, still. Like no
Mm-hmm.
matter what, I think it's still like there, even though it's
Yeah.
like shaken a little bit. But I don't know, I just like that callback. Um and yeah, and it was meant to be a compliment. Lucy took it as that, which was good. And then just like they both said like for each other to have a good night, and that just like
Yeah.
made me want to cry. They're just so cute, and like I'm glad they didn't leave it at that though. We are going to pull the audio for a portion of this scene because we will not be able to do it justice.
No.
Yeah.
So here it is.
No. I got half a dozen scars. Bullet wounds, knife wounds, broken bottle. Then there's the ones you can't see. Isabel's addiction. Dad who would tune me up on the regular. And whether I like it or not, they're a part of me.
I know what you're trying to do, and I appreciate it, but this is different. I was tattooed by a sadist who etched my day of death into my skin.
Okay, but you didn't die. Okay, you lived, and now he's the one in the ground.
But
I'm not trying to tell you what to do with it. Okay, burn it off. Keep it, whatever gives you peace. All I'm trying to do is give you some hard-won perspective. You can choose to see that tattoo as your greatest failure. But I see it as proof that you're a survivor. It wasn't your day of death, Officer Chen. It was the first day of the rest of your life. And no one can take that away from you.
thanks.
Yeah.
And then just oh my gosh, I told Jennifer earlier I could go on and on about their just like smiley, goofy, grinning faces for like 5 minutes, but I will spare everyone and go on about it for like 5 seconds maybe. The
I
one
was
time
gonna say,
me,
I thought that you were gonna
but
do a spiral over
I mean I
his
could.
speech.
I just like oh my god.
Because I mean, it
Just
gave me the
ugh,
chills, and it made me get
yeah.
teary-eyed. So
Yeah, I don't know. It just like the fact that they were able to go from this like the speech, right? And he just like he says his piece and like that's his thing. And then just like the casual, like he puts his hands back in his pockets and is like, asking her if she's gonna ride with him tomorrow. And just like I'd never seen him smile so big. And just like he's just and she's like, yes, sir. And she's all smiley too. And then he chooses that moment to give her the ring back and like looks at her all soft and just like, oh, it's so good. It's so good. And I think now that I'm thinking about it, I think that was mentioned in Eric and Melissa's live Instagram from gosh, well now it's almost been 2 years ago. Cuz I think I want to say it was Melissa's idea about the ring. I think. Gosh,
for
I
him to
really
give it
should have.
back to her.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Oh gosh, you would think I would know this by now because I'm pretty sure I've watched that like a couple times over. I think so.
I mean, I
I'm
wouldn't be
pretty
surprised.
sure.
I would like to know like how much they, not necessarily like ad lib, but how much they add to the scene, like how much input they have. Like was it written in the script that they were gonna give the ring, or was that a suggestion from Melissa and or Eric saying, well, he still has this ring from her, why not we add that in? Like, I don't know, I
I'm
would
like
just like to know.
99% sure that was a Melissa like suggestion about like just the having the ring like in the scene
Hmm.
in a way. And then I think I don't know, either she came up with it or like just they worked it in that way. I'm gonna have to find that gosh darn Instagram live clip or something. I feel like Emily maybe from the rookie rewatch account may have shared it at one point in time, maybe.
Yeah.
Or if someone else did, someone send it to me. I'm just gonna say that right now. Someone send it to me on Twitter so then we can post it again. So then we can all spiral like I am doing right now,
Yes.
apparently.
I mean, I would just like to add, like, watching this scene, I was like, I just need like a full like YouTube video or whatever, however long it would be, probably like 4 minutes or whatever, of just all of the Chenford lines, like the quotes, the parallels, all that. Like no fancy music behind it, just the scenes, like not like one right after another.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even like the parallels like put together, like
Yeah,
oh, it would just be so good.
that would be good.
I just saw another edit before like we started recording, and it was Chenford obviously to the What's a Soulmate audio from like Dawson's Creek,
Yeah.
and I like lost it because that's like my favorite audio for ship videos, like because I've seen it in another one for our ships. So I just like, I loved it. And yeah, we'll have to share that one too because it's chef's kiss.
Yeah, it's so good. I may have retweeted it. I may have beat you to the punch on that one.
Okay.
I don't know. I can't remember off the top of
Well,
my head.
I'll be watching it over and over.
But
So
yes,
yeah.
definitely. Yeah. And just like, I don't know. And then they go like, I don't know, like they did it like in such a way with this end scene that it was like these like softer moments blended into these like more like powerful like lines, and just like, I don't know if I'm articulating it quite the way I would like it to. I wish I could think of better words to use, but I can't. Just, I don't know, just like, because like Lucy, after they have the little like smiley, yes, they're gonna be like back in the shop together and whatnot, and he gives her the ring back, she just like looks down at the ring and like held it up and like took a breath, and like that was the final like scene that they ended on. That was just like such a like important moment. I think they needed to end it on that moment, and like I'm glad that they ended like, not that I don't know how to explain this exactly, like I was glad that it was individually like Lucy, like it was just Lucy like standing like there holding this ring, like kind of, I don't know, almost like we like kind of saw her like processing the like whole entire conversation, and just like, this is this like symbol that she's like, she survived this whole thing, and like she is going to be okay like in time. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but just like we kind of saw it like play out, and just, I don't know, it's just very, very smart like writing, editing, producing, directing, everything about this end scene was just wonderful, and I could not ask for anything like more to, I don't know, not wrap up like Chenford obviously, but just like that like particular like part of their journey, because it wasn't too sappy, it wasn't too
it was them. I love that we have that as a part of their journey. And yeah, like it felt natural for them. Like it felt natural for him to, walk into the gym and seeing her work out like that. It felt natural for him to make that speech and for her to kind of get like emotional hearing it. And then it felt natural with him giving her the ring. Maybe it's because we've seen it a dozen times, so like that could be why, but yeah, I don't know. It didn't feel like forced.
Well, and just like, and Tim was able to open up to her a little bit, and just like just allowing himself to be like vulnerable still to like kind of put them on the same level, and just everything about it was absolute perfection. I don't know if I have anything else to say except for the fact that I did end up spiraling for 5 minutes, so you're welcome.
I mean, even like when he was asking like everyone, or Nyla and Harper, or Nyla and Angela and John, how Lucy was doing, like, I don't know, it did feel kind of like it was, her TO, but maybe that's because we had seen it while he was in uniform and like on shift, whereas if they were like out getting drinks one night, like it would have been different. But you could still sense that it was like he really cares for her on a much deeper level than just being her partner,
Yep.
So yeah, that's, I mean, it's kind of it that we have on Chenford, right?
Oh wait, Tim in the jacket though.
Oh my gosh, yes, we cannot forget that.
Perfection as well.
That is just a look that I will never get tired of.
Is that the same jacket that he wears in 309? Or am I thinking of a different jacket?
I think so. Or is that... Wait, 309 was, Amber Alert. That's when he was dusted with the cupcake.
Yeah. Is that the same jacket? It definitely looks very, very similar. It's a pale jean jacket. I don't know what about it.
Yeah, or is it the jacket from
good.
season 4 when Lucy caught up to him in the parking garage about
Oh, heck.
Ashley?
Oh, heck. I don't know. Oh, dang it.
I don't know.
Now
I
I
feel
don't
like his
know.
jackets look alike
Yeah.
sometimes. So,
Well, if it's not the same, it's a pretty darn close one, and I approve. Thank you,
yes.
wardrobe department.
Yes. Yeah, so then next we have Brolin and the Abigail ride along. So that was like our main storyline of the episode. And Henry and Abigail are back in town to look at wedding venues. And John just seems unsure of it still. I feel like we definitely need an update on them. Like, are they married yet? What's going on with them? Like, I mean, we know that Henry is in Japan working, but
Mhm.
like, is Abigail with him? I
I
mean,
would
surely,
so.
I don't know. I was not really a fan of Henry in this episode. He kind of annoyed me. But they meet Nolan at the district, and because the wedding venue they're going to look at like got shut down. And so Abigail's like, I was hoping that I could hang out with you, John. And see, like I thought at first that it was gonna be like some sort of bonding effort for them. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But then I was also like, you could do it when he's not on shift. So, but it was actually to shadow him as a cop. Because she said she's done a lot of self-reflection since she dropped out of school, and she just has a lot of respect for how he reinvented his life, and it's been inspiring for her, which I get that. Okay.
Mhm.
So then like she wants to become a cop and do it right along, and John thinks that she's joking at first. He's like, this is another like I'm pregnant thing. And when she doesn't laugh, Henry doesn't laugh, John's just like, oh, okay. And he makes it more awkward than it already is. So then John's like, I'll have to ask the watch commander, it shouldn't be a problem though. And so she just like runs back to get her jacket from the car. And Henry's like, this is when I did not like Henry. Like in this episode, like this was the turning point. Um, he's like, you can't let her become a cop. Like, I'm barely okay with you being a cop, and I worry about you making it home every night. So, I can't do that with Abigail. And, I mean, it is sweet that he's worried about her. It's sweet that, like, he wants her to be safe on the job, like anyone does, obviously. But, I mean, John was like, you should discuss this with Abigail. Like, I don't really want to get involved. And I agree with John, like, he should.
Yeah, for once, I also agree with John because sometimes
Yeah.
John just says things, and I'm like, eh. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I totally agreed with him.
Especially when it's like regarding a job. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know. Yeah, it just and like you're engaged to like
Yeah.
act. Yeah, I don't know. But then Henry wants John to make sure that like, he kind of dissuades her from being a cop, and John's like, I can't do that, but I can lean into the bad parts. And it helps that he has Tim Bradford as a TO in this episode. So, you know, and Tim's just like, he's peeved because no one scheduled a ride along without clearing it with his TO first, but Nolan did clear it with Harper before he knew that he was going to be switching TOs for today. And Tim's just like pissed, and he's like, well, okay. So like his disgruntledness is hilarious, but then like you get a shot of Nyla and she's just like smiling at him, and it's
Yeah.
like the best.
It's almost like the smirking emoji. Like her
Yes.
smile is like that wide. I think that's a GIF on Twitter, I think.
Yes.
I think it's so good though. So good.
So then when this cracked me up when John was like, this is our ride along, and like he showed Tim Abigail from like across the way. Tim's like, she's like 9 pounds. Like, I'm not interested in chasing tame calls. And John's like, oh no, let's go after some intense calls. Abigail would benefit from seeing the harsh side of police work because she's just like sitting there, like, just like patiently
Mhm.
waiting. And I mean, I don't disagree with Tim. Like, she does look like she's like 9 pounds. And like, I don't know, she kind of has like a baby face look. I don't know.
Yeah, she
But
definitely looks very young.
yeah. Then Tim just like realizes that, John doesn't want her to be a cop. And John just like iterates that he's concerned about her suitability. And he's trying to say, yes, you're right, without saying, yes, you're right. I don't want her to be a cop. So then, so John's like, it might be best to show her what she's signing up for before she actually does it. And Tim's just like, scaring rookies off the job is my specialty. Oh, Tim. Throw back to 101, when he was like, rookie days, my Christmas or whatever.
Oh my god, yeah. He was like, it's the Christmas and the purge all in one.
Yep.
God, yeah, he just like, I don't know, and just like his like little smirks as John was talking about like the fact that like he didn't want, or well, that Henry didn't want Abigail to be a cop, therefore John's trying to like be fair to both
Mhm.
sides, and just oh my god, it just cracked me up because like I don't know, it was just such like a normal thing. It was almost like Tim and John were like actually friends. Like
Yeah.
it was just fun to see.
I feel like they definitely got closer in this episode. Like, I don't know, just like working together, kind of being like on the same team in a
Mhm.
way. But yeah, so then they like walk out to meet Abigail in the bullpen, and Tim's just like, this is my chance to not go easy on her. So he's talking to her like he would talk to a boot. And, she's like, only to address him as Officer Bradford. He asked if she signed the liability waiver, which she did. And, he's just like, you understand that you could be injured, maimed, paralyzed, burned, or killed during this ride along. And and John's face during all of this is just another memeable expression. Like, I don't know, I highlighted it in the outline of like, you have Officer Softy, which is John Nolan, and then Officer Hardass here, which is Tim Bradford. And it's just like
Yeah.
good cop, bad cop, kind of.
Yeah, oh my gosh, it so is. And just it kind of reminded me now that I'm thinking about it, like Tim's like reading off of all these things that could happen reminded me of when he got angry in one was it 116 and he started reading off all those like infractions that Mario
Yes.
Lopez would have done with the car, and he just says it so matter of factly. He's like, I am like here to just like do my job, and like no one else is gonna get in my way. So like if he already has to deal with something or someone else,
Yeah.
he just like he doesn't want to. So he's just like, here's all these things that could go wrong or that will happen to you. Like go away.
Yeah.
But it didn't work, obviously.
Well, and then he's like, we're not tour guides, we're the police. Like, we're gonna drive toward where it's the sound of gunshots. So if that's a problem, then you need to bail now. And she just looks at Tim and she's like, I can hold my own. Like, that's not a problem. And Tim's eyes just narrow and he's like, this is gonna be harder than I thought.
Yeah, oh my god. And he looked back at Nolan, who was like, I didn't know. Sorry. Like
Yeah.
he really thought that that was gonna do it. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So then Brolin and Abigail roll up on the scene. And Tim's like, he says that if she wants to become a cop, then the first thing she needs to come to terms with is death in all its forms. And Tim enters the crime scene first, and just tells John and Abigail to stay there. She seems like fascinated with it. I mean, we didn't see the body, but we saw the pool of blood around it, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. And then John's just like, I'll never get used to the smell of death. And I don't know, Abigail's line here was like a little morbid, and I was just like, okay, this is like kind of freaking me out here. And she's like, the smell isn't that bad, but I have a thing for armpits. The funkier, the better. And John's just like, I don't need to know that. And me neither. Like, no, no,
Mm-mm.
no. And then I like worry for like her past. I'm like, what did you grow up around? That like you're okay with that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So then she was probably like very tomboyish or something. So then, like Tim motions over them and they enter the crime scene. We find out more about the DOA. And it was a jumper. And John tells Abigail that like, she doesn't really want to, nor should she see this. And she's like, no, I do. And she's still like fascinated with it. And Tim's just like, if you have to hurl, like, step away from the victim. And she keeps her cool, like, different than how all of the other rookies have done. Like, we've seen all of them kind of have like woozy reactions to all of this. And I love how it's been like a running bit in the show. But I also love that, like, she's not even a rookie. Like, she's just a ride along for the day. And like, she keeps her cool, like, better than the rookies have. I don't know. It was just kind of funny to me. But then Abigail's like, huh, I'm not even sure what I'm looking at. And again, she's just like entranced into it. But we find out the victim jumped from a 5-story building onto asphalt. So the impact velocity tends to like make people look like broken pinatas. I'm really glad that they didn't show this because I did not need that image, like even the broken pinata image. Um, but his body is all over the place, and Abigail's just like mesmerized by it. While John's face is grossed out, and he's like, great, she's liking the job. So that makes everything easier. But they have an ID on the victim, and his name is Heston Dayton. He's 22, and they're not sure if it's a homicide or a suicide until the autopsy is done. So then, given the state of the body, like, it might not even be clear then. So Tim's like, has the next of kin been notified? When the like on-scene detective or whatever says no, the camera cuts from Tim to Abigail, back to Tim, then to John. And I just loved how like the two guys like gave each other a look, deciding that they were going to be the ones to do this. So then as they're walking away, Abigail tells John like, that was cool. And John just says quietly, that was a human being. And we're about to tell his family that they'll never see him again. Okay, I loved how this line still showed John's like good cop side. I mean, he'll never lose that side, right? Of seeing, like, trying to see the good in people. But then I don't know, it kind of showed, like, to me, it showed her immaturity a little bit, like on the ride along. She was almost kind of like, that was, like, I don't know, just she was like eager to see that versus really like realize and understand like what they were doing was a heavy thing.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think that kind of like, I don't know, it kind of circles back to like what Tim had said earlier, that like she needs to come to terms with death, like in all of its forms, and so maybe she's just like not there yet. I also realized though that line paralleled his like grief is grief line in 116 too. Wow, there are so many this episode.
The Rookie is so good
So
with
many.
parallels. Like, I don't realize it until I go back and watch, and I'm like, wait, we had that in season 4. We had that in season 3. Yeah, I don't know.
Apparently in season 1.
Yeah, like, I get that she's fascinated by it, but like, also read the room. I don't know. So then, the trio arrives at Heston's residence, and John's just talking to Abigail about what death notifications are like. And Tim's like, there's no shame in waiting in the shop if you're not ready for it. But again, she's like, I'm fine. Let's do this. She reminds me of someone like, who is really like new to a position, like a full-time, like whatever, like someone new to a company. And she's like just wanting to step in and help anywhere that she can to like really prove herself.
Yeah, it's like very eager.
Yeah, which I liked seeing that from her, but it was also like there were certain things that it was like, okay, read the room on. So then Heston's mom opens the door, and she just wants to know, what he did, because like apparently lately he's been getting into a lot of trouble. And she just knows that the cops are there for him. So then Tim's like, he tells her that Heston was killed earlier in the morning, and his sister Ellen walks up asking what's going on. She has an interesting reaction to it. And Tim just, says that like he fell from a building. It's possible that he jumped, and Miss Dayton said that he would never do that. So then they enter and ask a few questions while Abigail stays outside, and she ends up talking to Ellen. And she says, the mom says that she hadn't seen him in a couple of days, and she like pours wine or something to kind of like help cope, or something with the news. So then, yeah, Abigail's staying outside talking with Ellen, his sister, and I thought it was interesting. Ellen was like, "Did you see his body?" And Abigail was like, "No." She said that like matter of factly. She didn't want to like get into it more, and I don't know if that's just because like she didn't like want to really have to explain it, maybe.
Yeah, or maybe she took what John had said and was like, oh, okay, maybe I should not be as
Like
talkative or
forthcoming.
like
Yeah.
hmm
So then as Tim's talking to Miss Dayton, like asking what kind of trouble Heston was in, John's just looking out the window watching Abigail intently. And as Brolin's inside, Ellen's, who I'm assuming boyfriend, Everest, pulls up, and like she approaches the car in an anger, like filled with anger filled emotions, asking him what he did. Abigail calls for Tim and John. They come running out just as Everest is pushing Ellen up against the car and yelling at her. So then, like, Abigail steps in, and she, Everest goes to like hit her, but then she kicks him right in the worst spot for a guy to be kicked in. Like,
hmm
I feel like Abigail is definitely one that, like, she's not going to stay quiet. If someone's getting like misjudged or like, I don't know, disrespected or something, like, she's not going to stay quiet.
Yeah.
So then,
For 9 pounds, she's scrappy.
yeah, she is. She's young, scrappy, and hungry.
hmm
So then, the sister says that Everest is the reason that Heston's dead. But he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I just talked to him earlier in the morning. So even though like Everest claims that like he doesn't know why Heston's dead, the sister's calling BS on it, and Tim's holding her back. Like they're just trying to like break up the fight. And so then the sister doesn't have a specific accusation, but since Heston's been hanging out with Everest, he's like been getting into trouble. So dispatch comes back with Everett's sheet. They arrest him for assault and battery. And Tim's just like, detectives will come by later to talk to, Ellen and her mom. So I don't know. Also, like, his calm voice is definitely something that we need to hear more of. Like, I don't know, just give me a whole hour of it and I would be set. So then, like, he gives her his card, and if she has any other questions, she should give him a call. So then, I don't know, I really picked up on Abigail's expression here. Like, you can tell that the interaction hit her a little hard, but when she's asked if she's okay by John, she just looks back, and says better than her. And I kind of got the feeling that she was like pushing down her feelings. Like, she wanted to be like a Mr. Tough Guy here, but it was like, it's okay to be like shaken up by it. Like, it's fine. You're not on the job as a cop. Like, you are still a civilian at this point. Like, you can be shaken up. You can be affected by it. Not saying that cops can't be, but like, cops learn how to deal with stuff like that. Like, she hasn't learned that yet. So
Yep.
yeah. And then Nolan is like, later in the episode we see Nolan telling Everest that he needs to come clean about Heston, and it's obvious that he knows something because the sister tried to claw his eyes out. But Everest is just like, I was in Culver City all morning clearing out tickets, so I really don't know what happened. And Everest is like, I know my rights and I don't want to talk to Brolin anymore. So then Tim tells Nolan to get him processed, and they'll get the detectives up to speed. So like, we see more, like, we see John kind of step into the break room where Abigail is, and she's like stress eating, and he just checks up on her, and he's like, are you okay? I get it, like, the job isn't how you imagined it would be, and she just like immediately changes the subject, checking to see what will happen with Everest. And so like after John runs through all of that, like he, it's just like maybe it's a good thing that you're seeing how the job runs before you can sign up, because then you can kind of move on and figure out what you really want to do. I don't know. I was like, okay, I know that most of this is coming from Henry. John never should have went along with it, but like also maybe that wasn't the boost of confidence kind of that he should have given her. Like, yeah, I don't know. It just didn't really sit well with me. So then, but Abigail's like, well, I'm going to prove everyone wrong. So she leaves Sean speechless, and, she's just like, I still want to become a police officer now more than ever. She thanks him for the ride along, making that happen and believing in her. And his face just looks like so dejected. So then, Brolin's walking out of the district together. Tim asks about Abigail and wants Sean to let her know that like she showed some solid instincts and clearly has some fight in her. And Tim's just like, I'd be happy to put in a word for her when she turns 21. And John then mentions her past, or kind of brings it up. And, Tim's just like, what did she do back then? And so John divulges it, and Tim doesn't even beat around the bush. He's like, she'll never become a cop. It doesn't matter how she handled the outcome. Like if she handled it the right way or not. Like the law sees it as an incident of domestic violence, which is a hard pass at the academy, and there's nothing that she can do. So the next time we see Abigail, she's sitting on the couch in the morning, kind of like zoning out. And John asks her how she's feeling about the whole like not becoming a cop thing. She claims that she's fine, and it's not the first time that she's missed out on something because of her past, but she'll just kind of deal with it. So Henry comes out and tells Sean that he's heartbroken, or John tells him that she's heartbroken, and Henry just says matter of factly, like, I know, but I still think that her not becoming a cop is for the best. And John puts on his dad pants and is like, I'm disappointed that you feel that way. And honestly, same, John, because like, I don't know, it just seems like a douchey thing. And it's like, Henry, support your girl. Like, no matter if she could become a cop or not, like, support that idea and passion of hers. Mm-hmm. Like, whether she actually becomes a cop or not, like, just support it. So then Henry's like, I'm just trying to protect her, and John just reminds him that like deciding what's best for her isn't protecting her, it's controlling her. And John, admits that he shouldn't have played along, and that was his fault, but Henry isn't doing all that he should be as a fiance. Like, Abigail deserves Henry's empathy and honesty, and he's not giving that to her. So John's like, if you should tell her that it's over then. If you can't like be honest and like empathize with her. So then later in the episode, because like the episode was cut up like between 2 days. So then Tim meets up with Nolan at the district, shares that he got something. And this scene when Nolan's like, oh, me too. Who goes first? And Tim's just like, I do. Reminds me, didn't that happen in the next time Brolin paired up?
Oh, did it?
Or something like, who should go in first? And Tim's like, I do, always, or something.
Oh, maybe.
Gosh,
I think I remember.
It was kind of a parallel to that. It was when they wore plaid.
Yeah, it was 312. Oh dang, yeah, it's 312 or 313. No, 12. Whichever. I can't remember now.
It was in season 3.
Yeah, it was season 3. Gosh, I'm so off my game today.
But like there it is, like another parallel kind of. I don't know, does like the rookie writers just have like a big whiteboard of all the quotes and stuff? Because
I would not be like a giant web.
Yeah.
Like how like, Angela like murder boarded. Yeah. But like with parallels. Like
They
that.
have to, because like how would they remember it? I don't know. Um
Yeah.
yes, then
No
Tim's
idea.
just like, oh, I always go first. And Nolan's face when he said that was another solid meme. Like it's another solid meme. So then the medical examiner called. Heston wasn't a jumper. It appears he was actually tossed off of the roof. And he was dead before he left the roof. So it seems that he was strangled and had acid burns on his forearms that were less than a week old. So Nolan's like, well, I looked up the arrest records for Everest, and his burglary charge was for stealing drain cleaner, which contains sulfuric acid, which is then used to cook meth. Okay. And so then, they say that they weren't cooking it in the trailer park though, because Brolin would have smelled it. So then instead of bringing the detectives up to speed, Tim's like, no, we're going to go to Everest first. So then Brolin is about to turn into the trailer park when they see a group of bikers roll in on their motorcycles first. And John's like, well, that can't be good. No shit, man. That can't be good. You see a group of motorcycles rolling up into, no, that can't be good. So then Tim just mentions that they saw two of the bikers from the group leaving the park when they pulled in the day before. And that can't be a coincidence. So then, they figure out that they sell meth and they wouldn't like it if, Heston and Everest were trying to cook and sell in their territory. So then Nolan just figures out that like they threw Heston off of a roof and they're coming back to the park to do the same to Everest. But then they got spooked when they saw Brolin before. So, they're back to finish the job. I feel like Nolan's just like paraphrasing all of that for us, right? Like if we didn't have storylines with everyone else, we would have just seen this entire storyline and we would have seen all of that play out. Like they're pretty much just giving us like the Spark Notes version,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick
Which
summary.
I appreciate. So then, like the next move is to call him back up and hope that no one else is killed while they're waiting. So backup comes, it's Gray, Nyla, Lucy, Jackson, and Angela. I was like, wait, is Aaron in on this one? No. 2 seasons later he is. But so SWAT is mobilizing and Brolin's like hopping a wall to give everyone else eyes inside. I mean, perfect. We get Tim hopping a wall. It's not a very tall one, but like it's it works. So, Gray's like, I'm not sure if we can wait for SWAT to land. So, Brolin has to set up an OP to report back. So they see them like throwing Everest to the ground outside of a trailer and like torturing him basically. And Tim's just like, we can't wait for SWAT. So Brolin has to proceed to the target. And Nolan's like looking around the corner. And this line was like the funniest thing. It shouldn't have been funny, but it was. And he was like, that's my truck. Like, what? And Tim's just like, what did you say? What? That's your truck? And apparently John lent it to Abigail and Henry because they were going to use it to look at wedding venues. And Tim's like, are you sure that that's your truck? And no one's like, yes, I know my vehicle. It's just too good. Like, we need more Tim and Nolan banter because when we get it, it's perfection. Yeah. So then Nolan's just like, they must have came back to visit Ella and like, Abigail was thinking about her. So then cut to the scene where we get a gun pointed at Henry's face. Weird. And it's Henry, Abigail, Ellen, and Miss Dayton on the couch being held hostage. So who knows where Everest went because he's not in there with them. It seems like it was just 2 bikers holding them hostage, so the others were with Everest. But we never like saw totally what happened with Everest. We just saw them like throwing him to the ground, picking him back up, and taking him back into the trailer. But the bikers want to know where Heston was cooking, or where Heston and Everest are cooking and keeping the cash, to which no one knows. So Brolin gets up to the trailer, no one looks in, the bikers like admit to killing Heston, saying that he killed himself really because like he wandered into the middle of a criminal enterprise. So then like the bikers talking about a turkey, like looking up at the rain, and Abigail's like, yeah, that's a myth. It's false. And I don't know, Henry's like looking at her and trying to get her to like stop talking. I mean, honestly, if I was in a situation like that, I would be like looking at the person next to me who's just like blabbing on, and I'd be like, be quiet. Like you're not helping at this point. So, but that's like another point where like she's headstrong, like she's gonna prove this person wrong. Which was good. So good to see. Her and Henry balance each other out in that way, I feel like. So, but then Tim's just like, we're in position. Grace sends out a green light and they all move in. Signal. And I love when they like signal each other with the hand on their arm to like move. But Nolan and Lucy or Nyla and Lucy are further in the trailer park. And John's, entered the area where everyone's held hostage. And one of the bikers is like, I'm gonna check the place again. So he walks into a room. John shuts the door and tases him and then like throws him out the window for Tim to take care of. And John just like throws in a smoke bomb thing to like where the rest, where everyone else is. So then the rest of the team moves in, the biker starts shooting just like anywhere and everywhere. Like he's just shooting, and John takes him down. Tim comes in, arrests the biker, and John's reunited with Abigail and Henry. Like, that is his main concern at that point, which it should be, while everyone else takes down the bikers. So then, like at the end of the episode, Abigail is like, well, the one thing that doesn't make me want to become a cop is the paperwork. And John's just like, you guys can go home, I'll meet you there. And Abigail, like I loved this moment when Abigail was like, it was scary today. And Henry just asks Sean, but you're used to it, right? And we find out that he's not. And especially when it's, Henry and Abigail in danger. So, John's like, but we're trained to deal with fear, but, we try to recognize it and not let it paralyze us. So, Abigail is like, well, my man didn't freeze when the bullets started flying. And she calls him his hero, but he feels uneasy about that because he's been anything but a hero to her. And he's just like he comes clean saying, I wasn't supportive of, you wanting to be a cop, and my dad called me out for being selfish for it. And so Henry's just like, you deserve better, and I understand like if you don't want to marry me. So then I don't know. John's just like the awkward third wheel here. And it reminded me of the last episode when he could have been like the fifth wheel. But then Gray's like, nope, you're not going out for drinks. Like, John is just the awkward like third or fifth wheel at times. So then, Abigail's like a little upset, and, she doesn't know why, like he didn't just say something, but she gets it. So, she's like, I'm a bit of a wild card. You're not, but I'm used to people underestimating her, and just didn't think that he would be one of them. I mean, ouch, but like also, yeah. So, she's like, we'll work through it though. Like, you're not getting rid of me that easily. And John just ends it with, we should celebrate with pie, and my paperwork can be done tomorrow morning. I mean, pie sounds really great. So yeah, count me in.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was it for all of the Nolan, Tim, Abigail, Henry of it all. So
Moment of appreciation for Nyla and Lucy with the rifles. I think they were. Yes. Like just the tall weapons, small women.
Small badass women.
Badasses. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So good. which honestly, that was the perfect segue, which I did not plan.
No, we did not plan that.
Nope. Into Nyla and Lucy's part of this episode. They were so good. It was nice to see them work together again because I mean they eventually like let's see, what was it, 207 I think it was when they first worked together because that was the not Nolan line that she gave or for the nickname for Lucy. And like while they eventually like got past that whole like not animosity and it wasn't even hostility, it was just like different ways of saying things, but like I don't know, it was just nice that like she was the one to like kind of take Lucy under her wing for the episode. But anyway, so Nyla had talked to Tim at the beginning of the episode and asked what his plan for Lucy was, and he was like, well, I'm gonna hone in on her fight or flight response, which I also just realized that 413 was called fight or flight. So that's fun. Another not quite parallel. I guess maybe foreshadowing. I don't know. Probably not. But anyway. So Nyla was like, so basically you're just going to get her into every single fight possible. And Tim's almost ready to be like, yeah. But Nyla points out that Lucy may be better served by being with someone that has been through what she has been through, which Tim then observes is Nyla. So he agrees to make the switch, and that's how we get that earlier look shared between Chenford. I thought it was a nice like moment that like Lucy asked not once but twice to Nyla like why the switch. The first time Nyla tried to say that Tim thought it was a good idea or like the best move for her, but Lucy was like, so does that mean it's just some sort of Tim test? And Nyla's response was so sassy. Like, and I will not do it justice as Makia does it just because she has such a way about her with saying these things of just like, do I look like someone that could be roped into doing something like that, especially by Bradford? It was just great. It was great because Lucy's like, no, not really. But she asks again, and Nyla basically just convinced Tim that that Nyla would have more insight into what Lucy went through so she could be more helpful for Lucy's reintegration into the streets. And Lucy asks, like, oh, well, did you go on a date with a serial killer too? And Nyla did not, but before she can say anything more, Lucy kind of goes on a little tangent of she's fine, like she's done all the therapies to process her trauma. The psychology minor in me enjoyed the mentions of all the different therapies that like Lucy did. She did the cognitive therapy, exposure therapy, EMDR, which is the eye movement, desensitization and reprocessing, which is like a very, very intense therapy that is often used for trauma response. So it just, I don't know, I enjoy that like the writers obviously take some like time to like add these little things in because it ties into Lucy's psychology background as well. I know I had mentioned this to you earlier, I think before we started recording. I just gotta wonder how like Lucy did with the actual therapist who like signed off on her mental state.
Yeah.
Like that she mentioned earlier in the episode. Like that just had to have been a little bit weird. Like especially just since her parents are a therapist and probably like talk to her about like how to process her emotions. So I don't know. And like while Lucy likes to talk and like likes to connect with people, I don't know, that just had to have been like I almost wish we had a scene.
Yeah, like it's different when you're talking about a situation that like you're not happy about, you know. Like I can imagine that would have been hard for her. I also like wonder what the time jump was for this episode because It's not like she was back to work right after 2/11. Like she had to have that therapist sign off on it. And they didn't mention that. So
oh, because they said how long till she could have the tattoo removed. I was trying to remember that number, but that wasn't what. No, yeah, because that wasn't what we're talking about. So, yeah, I am not sure if they mentioned it and we missed it. Can someone tell us though? Because like I feel
don't
like
think
I
they
might
did
have missed
mention
it. I
it.
don't know.
But like I know for
can't
John's,
either.
like when it came to Anderson dying, there was a like card, like a scene card that had said 2 weeks. So I would assume that it was like 2 to 3 weeks, maybe.
Probably. Yeah, because she had quite a bit of Lucy had quite a bit of like bruising on her face and like cuts and stuff, and so I would think that would need time to heal up too. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of curious now. Now I want to know.
Yeah.
I don't know what is wrong with me, and I don't realize these things until apparently 5 times over of rewatching this episode. But I literally didn't realize that the line of Tim's of the heard you dodged some bullets like literally referred to the scene where like Lucy and Nyla joined the chase of the suspect that Jackson and Angela were dealing with. Like,
Yeah.
because Lucy took cover in the store. I just didn't realize that like was what that line was. Like, I just thought it was. I don't know what's wrong with me. I swear, I don't know why I thought it was like just some like poetic Tim line or something. I don't know. But yeah, no. So that all of that's clicking together. Yeah. I liked that I said like I mentioned it earlier, the tattoo is like kind of a theme throughout like or what's the word I'm looking for? Symbolism. In this episode, and just like Lucy's looking at her tattoo again in the locker room, noticing that the concealer is fading. I'm sure she wished her memories of that time would fade as quickly.
Well, even like when she was first looking at it in the bedroom, like they even had the sound effect of the like tattoo gun.
Yeah. Yeah, very very like well done. Just the littlest things that they do just make the most impact, I think. But it's also like her hair in the locker room scene, goals, like all of their outfits. Oh my gosh, like just oh my gosh, just Nyla with the hair pulled back and the jacket, and then like Angela's like jacket matching her lipstick and her jeans. Oh my gosh, and just Lucy's sweater. Oh my gosh, I could just go on and on and on. So good, like just the trio that we need more of.
Yes.
We need another girls' night without this, having to be a psychological experiment. Although I appreciated it for this episode because obviously Nyla wants to, help Lucy through this whole thing.
Yeah. I was gonna say I wouldn't mind if it was a psychological experience, but like
true.
I'm okay with just strengths, especially now that like Nyla is pregnant. Like, well, obviously, it can wait until after she has the baby too, but like, Angela and Nyla like sharing like new mom stories and all that.
Yeah. I just thought it was fun though that like they didn't automatically tell Lucy what they were doing, like going speed dating. And she's just like, are we going out to a club? Like, I don't know, just Melissa's little like pronunciation of club like gets me every time.
Yeah.
She was just so like, okay, what is it? Like someone tell me. But yeah, so it's speed dating. And Lucy again with the psychology of you can't have a controlled study without independent data. So how can she know if her judgment is sound if she's the only one that's participating in this speed dating thing? So Nyla and Angela are roped into it too. Angela's like, screw it, I'm in. But she brought her own drink. So she's just such a badass, and just like
Mhm.
I just love it. And like even Lucy took a drink too, which I thought was kind of like just interesting.
Yeah.
And this whole thing, I kind of wish there was a clip. I wonder if there is a clip of like just this montage of like how each of their dates, quote unquote, like went, because it's so like they just tailored it so well to each of their characters, I
Yes.
think. And it was just great because Lucy had all the psychology based questions of, do you ever have any intrusive thoughts? Did you have any early behavioral issues? How would you describe your relationship with your mom? Would you submit yourself to a background check? And if not, why not? Despite all that though, she did good. Until the very last guy she talked to noticed she had a loose thread on her sweater. He like kind of brushed it, and the flashbacks of the ordeal with Caleb came on screen, and then Lucy reacted, flipped the guy down on the ground in one swift motion, and that was kind of the like end, at least for Lucy, of like the speed dating. Obviously,
Yep.
in the montage, I just enjoyed Angela. Oh my god, Angela just had no qualms about anything. She
No.
didn't care who she was talking to. She was just like, I'm just going to talk, and this is that. And like she tells a story about carrying the guy's leg, and don't wear open-toed shoes to a crime scene.
Mhm.
And just, oh my god, is this the one? Yeah, this is the episode with where the gif comes in of Nyla just staring, and that's like our
Yes.
favorite one. Oh my god, it's brilliant, and just like Makia gives like such good face.
Well, and then when she was like, the next guy like started talking, and she's like, nope, let's just sit there and wait for the timer. Like, I
So
wish
good.
that I could be as sassy as her.
So good. Yeah. Yeah, because she just cut him right off. She's like, nah,
Hmm.
like none of that.
Yeah.
I did think it was nice though, like that when Lucy was like triggered, that like Nyla asked if she was okay and like kind of helped her get up, and then Angela like whisked out her badge to like get like to talk to the guy and like kind of
Mhm.
diffuse the situation even further. Which I don't know, I like women supporting women, and just having these scenes, and like just female empowerment, and like Jennifer said, more girls' night scenes in any capacity, really. We're not
Yes.
picky. So it'd be, oh my god. See, but now, now that I said that, I want like future like mom Chen though, like when Lucy has like a kid of her own.
She
That'd
can
be
even
so
talk
good.
about Tamara and
That's true.
Kojo.
She can.
And Angela and Nyla are like, it's not the same, but it kind of is. And like,
So true.
Yeah.
So
They're
true.
like more interested about hearing about her and Tim though. Yeah.
I need that. Can someone, if someone hasn't already written that, can someone write that? That'd be so
Please.
good. So good. And of course I lost my place after talking about all that. My goodness. Okay. Okay, so later in the episode, Nyla opens up to Lucy about her past. Because Lucy again tried to tell Nyla that she was okay, and that she was just, doing what they taught her in the academy to like, react quickly to this like threat, but it wasn't actually a threat that she was reacting to. It was, however, a trauma response. I don't know. So it just, it's just this whole thing. And Nyla ends up telling Lucy about her time undercover, and that you have to keep your character like intact at all times, and it's like very, very exhausting to do that. And there was a time when she met a case officer at a bar, and one beer turned into two, which turned into, too many after that. And it like wasn't said like specifically like what exactly happened, but just it's implied that Nyla was taken advantage of by this case officer. And like Nyla trusted him. She wasn't with the criminal, she was with another cop, so she like thought that she could, you know, kind of let her guard down a little bit and be okay. She didn't even tell her husband about it, Donovan, at the time anyway. And she said that she would like deal with it when she was ready, but it just got worse. And so Nyla acknowledged that maybe she pushed Lucy a little bit too hard, but she knows what it's like when you don't deal with things head on. I don't know, like, this was also kind of a line that should not have been funny, but I kind of chuckled a little bit because when Lucy asked about like what happened to her case officer, she was like, he fell down a flight of stairs.
Yeah.
A few times. And just like that pause like got me. And just like nothing else was said about that. Like that's their last scene, like between Nyla and Lucy. And it was just, I don't know, just, and the rookie does it so well too. Like, not only do they work in like softer moments with like powerful scenes, but like emotional, like in the emotional pull with scenes, and then they also work in a little bit of comedy in there too to create some light. So very, very good.
Yeah, it was. I want to see more of Nyla and Lucy working together. Not like we've seen it with the undercover stuff, and like that's great, but I also just want to see it like them just on the job, like patrolling or whatever. Yeah. So then we have a little bit on Sterling and Jackson because like they're just adorable.
Can I just say that I miss them, and they were done so dirty in the true crime episode, and I'm still upset.
Jackson
I
West
liked
was
them
just
a lot.
done dirty in general.
So
but Jackson had spent the previous night at an event with Sterling, so he was like seen on the red carpet. And Gray, of course, you know, has to like roast his rookies and brings it up in roll call. And he just like gives Jackson like crap about it. And Jackson's just like, well, I'm proud because I gained 10,000 new followers on Instagram from it. And Gray's just like, but the only followers you should be worried about are your superiors. And so Gray's like, think about the other cops the next time you're out on the town. And so then as Angela and Jackson are driving, she tells him that like Gray didn't show him the red carpet tape just to tell him how to act off duty. Like he's sending a message that fame and police work don't mix well. And as if on cue, like they, you know, see a suspect that, you know, there was bolo out on the at the station for. And you know, so she like they pull him over. But first, before they pull him over, you know, Jackson's like, well, you know, if I want, or, you know, it was just my 15 minutes of fame. And Angela's like, that's not something that you should want. If you want fame, then you have to think about saying goodbye to any undercover work, joining SWAT, robbery, homicide, etc. Because no one's going to want to ride with a celebrity, which I find interesting because of the current storyline now with Aaron and Nyla.
Oh.
Like it's
See, and I was just
kind of
gonna be like
interesting.
morbid and be like, well, Jackson can't join anything now because he's no longer with us. That's sad.
Well, damn, why'd you have to go and do that?
I'm sorry. Just continue with yours. Yours is
But like, I don't know. I mean, okay, so like Aaron's a rookie. Like he hasn't probably thought much about like the other like departments that he would want to join. Jackson probably thought more about that because like he was a legacy cop, but like I don't know. It was interesting to see that storyline back in 212 and then to know the storyline that we have now with Aaron. And
so true.
He is famous, but like he was also dragged through the mud on a past issue. So like, you know, I mean he's got a lot that he's like overcoming. But then I was also like, well, wasn't there a storyline where he was like noticed or something like when he was out on the job? It was something like that. Maybe it was just like a friend of his or something, but yeah, I don't know. I just thought that the storyline was interesting. So but yeah, like I said, they had came across a suspicious guy who's like putting a backpack into, you know, the back seat of the car. And so Angela's like, I think I saw a bolo on him at the station. So Jackson's running the license plate. And it turns out that the vehicle is registered to a felon with outstanding warrants. And so Angela's just like, I love being right. And I just love her. Like, that's it. But then, dispatch is sharing, the felon's information with them, sending it back to the box. His name is Jedi Monet. And he's got an affinity for armed robbery and assault with a deadly weapon. So then Jackson's like, should we light him up? And Angela says, not without backup. So Nyla and Lucy assist with that backup. And, Jackson places a bet, $5 that he rabbits. And he turns on his blinker, and Angela just looks over at Jackson and she's like, you can pay me after. And it's just so badass and like hot, like how she says that. Like, she's so confident about herself. I love it. So then, I don't know. I also just love like their banter and how they would like place bets on like
Yeah, because they did
on
that
cases
in
with the
116 as well.
yeah,
With the what were
with
they
the kid
called?
that was driving the car.
Reversals? Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then Angela's like, well, or Jackson was like, you never accepted the bet or something. So they pull over Jedi with Lucy and Nyla being there as backup. And Jackson is then recognized by two women who's wondering if he's shooting a scene, which the red carpet video never said that he was a TV cop. They said he was a real life cop. So that's why I was like, okay, girls, go back and watch the scene or the clip of the red carpet because that's not what they said. But Angela's like not putting up with this. And, as Jackson is moving them back, Jedi uses this opportunity to escape the car through the passenger side and run. So the women are like desperately trying to get a selfie. Jackson's running after Jedi. Jedi's running through the store at this point, shooting like at Lucy as well. Angela, Nyla, and Lucy all corner Jedi, while Jackson is the last to run up. Again, more of this powerful female trio, please. Like they could do anything, and I would just sit there in awe of them.
Same.
And Angela's sassy line of "Nice of you to join us. Maybe our suspect wants your autograph." It's hysterical. Like she never misses a chance to give Jackson really anyone crap. Like yeah. It was just
No
so
wonder
good.
she and Tim are best friends because that reminds me of Tim's Welcome to the Arrest for Nolan.
Yeah.
So.
No, well, I mean, Tim Gillette is like BFF goals, so yeah. But then Westlow is walking back to the district, and Jackson is, telling Angela that she was right, and like it or not, he's a celebrity now, and she's just like celebrity adjacent. Like, don't get too ahead of yourself. So then, like he gets back on track and is like, someone almost got hurt because of me. Because I thought it'd be cool to walk down a red carpet, have my picture taken, and feel important. So then he asks her what he should do, and she can't give him an answer. So she doesn't explicitly say, but like Jackson puts it together, thinking like, that he should break it off with Sterling unless he has another way to stay under the radar. So then Sterling comes over to Jackson and Lucy's apartment to like pick up him for an event. And Jackson's just like, oh, I thought we could stay in tonight. I ordered a pizza, poured some wine, like, we're good for a night in. And so then Sterling's like, but I have to go to this vodka launch for work. So Sterling's like, what's going on? And Jackson's just like, I was recognized at work, like that can't happen. And so Jackson's like, I have to stay anonymous for the job. And I really just want to stay in for the night. So then Sterling's like, well, this PR stuff is part of the job and I don't want to go without you, but I have to. So he leaves right as the pizza guy is showing up. And so Jackson's alone with the pizza for his thoughts. And it turns out that Jackson ate the whole pizza. And Lucy had went for a slice and it was gone. So one, that's impressive because I can have 3, maybe 4 pieces and I'm like, I'm done. But then, he was like, oh, I kept refreshing Sterling's Instagram feed and had major FOMO. red carpets, gift bags, and Sterling even sat next to Lady Gaga at the fashion show. And he's like, and when I saw that, that's when I ordered another pizza. So basically now I want pizza because I hear that and I'm like, oh yeah, pizza sounds good.
Honestly, same. But
Yeah.
also, I was with Lucy when she was like, "That's not a sustainable coping mechanism."
No,
Mm.
but like sometimes you just want, a whole pizza to yourself. Maybe I don't know. I couldn't eat a full pizza, but yeah. So then, when asked what he's gonna do, Jackson's just like, I think I have to break up with Sterling. So Lucy reassures him that he won't be alone in being alone. And which is sweet, but also like, I don't know, I want them to both be happy. So then Sterling and Jackson like stage a breakup in front of the cameras, and we see Angela waiting in the car, and Jackson's just like, that was hard. And the way that he like says it and he gets back into the car, like it makes you think that they actually did break up. And then
Yeah.
Sterling like jumps in the backseat and he's like, that was so much fun or whatever. And Angela just reminds them that the public breakup was meant to get Jackson out of the spotlight. So as long as they stay off the radar, Jackson's choices in the department stay open. And then Sterling was like, do you have any of that pizza left at your place? And Jackson's face just like changes and Angela giggles and Sterling's like, what's so funny? And Jackson's like, let's just go. Like
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
no.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that was
I just
it for the Jackson stuff.
I liked the sort of like acting within
Within the
acting, if
show,
that
yeah.
makes sense. Yeah, like
Yeah.
or just any time where there's like, like facets of being a celebrity like within a TV show that
hmm
actual celebrity actors are like playing this. Oh my god, I just love. I'm a sucker for all that.
Yeah.
So fun.
Yeah. So that's it for the 212 recap. It was a good episode. I forgot how much there actually was. So
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah. But you guys can find us on Twitter at the shop talk pod _ or email us at shoptalktherookiepodcast@gmail.com with all of your thoughts. You can find us individually on Twitter as well. I'm at jstark804.
And I'm at Carrie Hyman.
And we're doing something a little different next week for
I'm so
hiatus.
excited.
Oh, so am I. So because Valentine's Day is next week, we publish new episodes on Tuesday, Valentine's Day is on Monday, but same difference, kind of. Actually, the 15th is like Galentine's Day, so it's perfect, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
I'm down.
So we decided that we're gonna cover Eric's role in The Ugly Truth and thirst over Colin Anderson.
Yep. That's his character name in the movie. I'm so excited. You guys have no idea.
So Carrie's seen the movie like what, 5 times you said? Or like 3
this
times?
this will be my this will be my third time watching it all the way through.
Okay. And
Because I
it's my
saw like
first time.
parts of it. Yeah.
And it's my first time. So it will be very interesting. But
Mhm.
yeah, stay tuned for that episode because it's gonna be good.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
And with that, we will be back next week. Bye everyone.
Bye guys.
Go get him, boo.